Hi, this is Craig and welcome back to Cruising Off Duty. If you've been watching the channel, you know that Janice and I have been reviewing catamarans for a future purchase. And this year we've only done episodes where we've gotten a guided tour by a knowledgeable salesperson that can give us all the features. Then we go home, we review the footage, and then we give you our pros and cons of each boat at the very end of the episode. This episode, we're going to be doing a new catamaran brand by Beneteau called XS. And this episode is going to be the Excess12. And the 12 stands for meters, so that's about 38, 39 feet long. A little smaller than most of the boats we review, but is it something we could live on if we were on a tighter budget? We shall see. And to our surprise, our guided tour this time is going to be by somebody we know from the internet, Wiley Sharp, boat broker that knows a ton about catamarans, and he's going to be very informative about this new model. So stay tuned.
We anchor and hoist the sail.
Okay, before we get started, I know a lot of you like to know the specs, like its weight, its beam, its draft, and all that stuff. So I'm going to throw this on the screen. You can freeze it if you want to read it all. When I was saying I was going to do this episode and it was supposed to be a more performance-oriented cat than a Lagoon, some of the commenters, well, at least one commenter in particular, said it isn't any lighter or any better sailing than a Lagoon. So I'm leaving the specs up here to show you that this XS is 10.3 tons. The newest Lagoon around the same size, the Lagoon 390, is over 11 tons. So this is a lighter boat. It may also have a bigger sail plan, so it probably does sail faster than the Lagoon 390. But funny thing, when you go back to the Lagoon 380, which is an older model that got replaced by the 390, it only weighed 7 point something tons. So surprisingly, the older Lagoon was lighter and may have even sailed better than the new modern Lagoons. Imagine that. Anyways, on to the tour. All right, anybody who's been watching boat reviews knows this gentleman. This is Wiley Sharp. He's here at the show, and he's going to show us the new catamaran by Beneteau called XS.
Yep.
All right, you're going to give us the guided tour?
Yeah, so this is the Excess12. She's making her North American debut, so might as well just start here at the helm and make our way around the deck, then we'll check out the inside of the boat. So one of the things that Group Beneteau did when they decided to go with the new catamaran range was geared a little bit more towards the performance side of things without giving up, comfort. So this boat, it's not designed to compete with, Outremer or Katana or Seawind or some of the more strictly performance-oriented boats. It's designed to be a little bit better sailing cruising catamaran and super loud over there all of a sudden. Better sailing cruising catamaran without giving up like the comfort that you find in something like a Lagoon, Fontaine Pajot, or Leopard.
So this is in feet is about 41, you said? Or?
38 and a half.
38.
Yeah, so it's comparable in size to the Lagoon 40, Leopard 40, FP 40, kind of in that same class as like the entry level boats.
And there's a bigger version of this XS coming out too?
The XS15 will be at the Miami Boat Show, and that's going to be like the flagship, and that's at like 49 feet.
That's awesome. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just want people to know the size, so if they feel it looks a little small, it's because it's a 38.
It's a 38 and a half foot boat. Beam's a little over 22 feet.
That's great.
So, so they went with a twin helm boat. It's a carbon fiber helm. The steering gear is all Dyneema on the boat. So I've been out sailing on her a couple of times out here in the bay, and she's definitely very responsive at the helm. I've only been out in light wind in her, and in light wind, 8 knots of breeze, we're still doing 4 and a quarter knots. So for a cruising catamaran, usually once you get into light wind like that, you're firing up the motors, and you're struggling or you're firing up the motors. But we were doing that with the Main and the Code Zero. This boat's equipped with the Pulse Line package, which is the taller mast and the larger bowsprit as well too. So geared, a bit more towards sailing while still being a comfortable boat. So the helm, it does have an enclosure that comes all the way up forward, as well as on the sides and on the back. And then we've also got drop downs in the cockpit that pretty well enclose the entire space. So when we were at the dealer meeting in Bordeaux, it was pissing down with rain the whole time, and they had the enclosures up on both boats, and we were very, very well protected the whole time we were on the boat. So you still have a nice little walkway when the enclosure's down where you can get up to the foredeck, but it's very well protected, which was kind of our big concern with going with the twin helm boat.
You feel like you might be out there exposed.
Yeah. Right. I've been very happy with it. You've got good visibility to port and starboard bow, and then from a close quarter maneuvering standpoint, with the throttles being aft and having both controls on port and starboard, it makes it super, super easy for coming into the dock. Like my wife and I, when we brought her in, I was able to get the stern line, one of the spring lines on, just from standing here like this. Whereas, in a bulkhead mounted steering or a fly bridge, you're kind of up away from and it tends to be my wife running up and down the deck while I'm sitting there going like that. So you're able to actively participate in the sailing of the boat. So all the control lines for the sails do run just forward of the helm, as well as over on the port side forward of that helm, and then the main sheet is just on this little pad here. And so with 2 people on the boat, it was super easy for us to handle it. And the jib is also a self-tacking jib, which makes it, just that much more manageable for short-handed sailing. And the Excess12 will have a very similar rig with, self-tacking jib. So both motors are located in the hatches below my feet, and it's available with either a 30 horsepower Yanmar or a 45 horsepower, and we can open that up so I can show you once we get to the other hull. So
the only other thing we should mention too is that this is the access way on this right now. But there's a seat right here that folds down.
So the shooter
not standing while you're steering the whole time.
Right. I mean, you could, I guess, if you want, but it's pretty simple mechanism.
Nice. Yeah.
And then dual backrest, which for a twin helm boat, it's nice having not just one seat. If you look at like the Ultramares or the Katanas or the Naughty Techs, they've only got one helm seat. And so for my wife and I mean, this is great because we can sit next to each other unless she's mad at me, and then she's still got plenty of other places to go. I mean, there's even a nice little footrest there as well too. So I guess let's go up forward. So nice grab rail as you make your way up to the weather deck. And all the hatches other than the forepeak hatches are flush. The forepeak hatch is I guess a raised hatch. All of the lines are captive, so they come from the mast and then turn downwards and then come out, in the cockpit there, which kind of keeps the lines a little bit cleaner, run a little bit more smoothly. This boat, as you can see, is equipped with the optional sunroof, which, on nice days like today, having it open, it's just like having, the sunroof open in your car. It's great on a nice day.
Right.
You might not use it every day.
Right. But if you want a solid roof, you get that as well?
Yeah, so the solid roof is the standard. That's a factory option to have that. I mean, you can put more solar up there. And
it's just more protection.
With this, though, we found that you're able to still pull the boom over to the side far enough where you've got the ability to open and close the sail back, but with the hard top, you'd obviously have much better access.
I fell through that.
Molded grab rails as you make your way forward too, so you've got those pretty much all the way from where the captive lines go below deck, all the way around to the other side where they do that, and then on both sides you've got the stainless grab rails on either side. Cool. So you've got storage up here.
Sail locker sort of thing. Yeah.
As well as over on the port side, that's the exact same space as over here. So it's a single piece trampoline, although just like all the Lagoons and Cruising Catamarans, it does have the chain running over the deck and then coming off of a bow roller, which it's nice having the anchor drop off the front of the boat versus a pocketed system. Because with the pocketed system, if you don't put your bridle on right away, if the boat goes sideways, you'll actually chew up the front third of your boat. And I would say at least half of the boats I go to survey on, like on a brokerage boat, the first 10 feet of the boat is all scratched and chewed up from the chain. So having it up forward is a way of preventing that. Gives you a little bit more safety factor there, I guess, and not scratching up the bows. This boat's equipped with the Pulse Line package, which is the taller rig, and that's the bowsprit, the Mylar tri-cut, code 0.
And that's not included in the length of the boat. Right? That's not part of the 30.
Correct. Yeah,
some boats are doing that now.
I know.
Adding the bowsprit as its length.
Yeah, it's like there's a boat called EOS, which is the largest privately owned sailing yacht in the world. It's like 330 feet. Well, when they were building that, Maltese Falcon launched, and so they actually put a larger bowsprit on it. Just to make. I mean, that's the story I was told. I could be completely wrong.
There's a few boats I've seen that where they tell you the water line and then they tell you the length and
you're like,
the sail's length. That doesn't add up.
Yeah.
The bowsprit's the difference.
So we've got 2 nice large storage lazarettes here. And the chain locker as well.
Oh, okay.
All runs in here. That's one of the water tanks. You can have up to 3 water tanks on the boat. Most people, I think, will order it with 2 water tanks and a water maker.
Right.
I mean, that's how I would
do it.
Yeah. Because 1 tank, which is a standard, isn't enough. 3 tanks is taking up a lot of space.
And weight.
And weight and everything. And water makers are so reliable now.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I don't want to go looking for marinas to find water.
No, it never ceases to amaze me that somebody will buy a boat like this for $500,000, $600,000 and then not add a water maker. It's like,
I know. You don't realize the inconvenience you're going to go through.
So we got the generator up here, which is a Fisher Panda 9 kilowatt generator, as well as some additional storage around the generator too. So the generator is very quiet as well. That's part of one of the reasons they went with the Fisher Panda, is it's just a very, very quiet unit. And then also right behind where you're standing now, Craig, is a ladder.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
For getting up to the hardtop as well.
That's nice, other than like permanent stairs obstructing your view. That is a great idea.
It's a simple solution versus having like a ladder permanently
like a
mounted on the
permanent
front.
staircase.
Yeah. So it's basically just a swim ladder that they redesigned to put forward.
But then you got that perfect visibility, right? Because now you got all glass, and you don't have a bunch of fiberglass there taking up space.
And like what I would do too is by having that up, it allows you to put sun pads up here. So I would have like nice large sun pad up forward to
give you that forward seating area.
Yeah, exactly. So as we already mentioned, kind of the integrated grab rail that goes all along the front brow of the boat. So everywhere you go, you've got good places to grab hold of. So then the grab rails. I'm going to open up this engine compartment just because I think this will be a little bit easier to show you.
That's a nice space, eh?
Yeah.
So what size is the standard?
This is I got the 45s, which are the upgrade. The standard motor is a 30 horsepower yen motor.
And if you were buying it, would you spend the extra money for the upgrade? Yeah.
In general, like with any new boat,
right,
if there's a bigger motor option,
go for it.
Because it's usually a marginally more expensive option. And there's a reason the manufacturer offers a bigger engine.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't skimp on that. I agree with you completely. I want to get your opinion.
In brokerage yacht sales, like if I go on like a Lagoon 420, using that model as an example, they offer that with like a 40 horsepower, a 55 horsepower, and a 75 horsepower. And if I look at one with the 40 horsepower on it, I'm like, you don't even, like I'll tell you, you don't even want that boat.
And a big blow, you're going to wish you had the bigger engine.
Exactly. So got a nice L-shaped settee over on the port side.
It's a nice seating area, really nice, yeah.
And by having the Helm's aft, it just opens up the cockpit.
That's true.
And then nice large settee aft, and then a settee over on the starboard side as well.
Stargaze back here with the open.
So I measured it out with the soft walk-on panels. You could still fit about 600 watts up top with the retractable sun.
With the retractable, and probably obviously at least 800 or more
with the rigid panels.
The hardtop.
You'd
have even more.
You could fit even more on. I'll just show you real quick. It's a real simple mechanism as well. They didn't overcomplicate it. Boat builders have a tendency to overcomplicate simple design. So basically, it's just a like a track system like you'd find on a Traveler or anything like that.
Yeah.
So just pull it down and you can lock it, part way as well.
Oh, I see. You pull it down and locks. Okay.
Yeah, so like you just click it in wherever you want it. If you don't want it all the way open, all the way closed. And that's something unique to the Excess catamarans.
My only concern, and this is just us talking because we talked about hard tops versus some that have the canvas tops, is I'm like in 5 or 6 years it's going to look worn.
It's a wear item.
Yeah,
it's I'll probably get in trouble for saying that.
I mean just talking personally for what we would want. We're very white. We're very Canadian, very white. We want to stay out of the sun as much as possible, right? So
I'm like Swedish and German ancestry, and I don't get suntan, I get sunburn.
Yeah.
So
look how white Dennis is.
I know, right?
So we got to stay out of the sun as much as possible.
This is about as dark as I get right here.
Awesome.
So there's a little bit of storage underneath there. This has got a top-loading cockpit fridge, which is nice because all the cold air doesn't come pouring out when you open it.
Go in to get a drink.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
Propane lockers under there, and I guess we'll make our way into the salon here. So we got the galley over on the port side with a single basin sink, Corian countertop, 3-burner stove, and then broiler oven. We've also got the refrigerator here on this side, and then there's the optional freezer behind where y'all are standing too. So for both this,
So an optional freezer. So if you didn't take this, you wouldn't have a freezer.
correct, you would just have the refrigerator.
So I would think then you definitely want to opt for the freezer.
I don't know why you wouldn't go with the freezer. And, a lot of the boats in this class, they have the drawer styles, and those are just refrigeration.
Yeah.
I mean, you put stuff on the bottom, your fruit and vegetable will freeze inadvertently, but
And the larger cat, the one that we would be more interested in, what's the difference in the galley? Are you getting a bigger?
it's all
Are you getting a double
scaled up.
sink? Or are you getting?
You're still getting a single basin sink.
Okay.
It's a larger single basin sink. It's still a Corian countertop. But yeah, I mean, a lot more storage. I mean, you've got the storage up above on this boat. On the 15, you've got, I think, four of these.
double the space up there.
Yeah. I mean, the beam on that boat is like 26 and change,
And
this is 22. So it's significantly larger.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to envision a bigger boat.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the design and feel of this boat is comparable, but it's this is obviously a much more compact
Well,
package.
actually, for 38, it feels pretty spacious.
I think they did
And
a
the
good
headroom's
job.
good. Like, I'm amazed how.
We had a guy on the boat yesterday that was 6'10", or no, 6'8". I'm sorry, and he said he still had 2 inches of headroom in here. We've got the nav station over here, port forward. So,
He's like, I didn't even know I was trying to be not on camera.
but we can pop down here first. So I'll point that
I've
out.
seen you guys a bunch. I watch your
Oh.
videos all the time.
Thanks
Good
for
to meet
saying
you
that. I
in
appreciate
real.
it.
Semi walk around berth. Obviously on the 15, it's going to be a full walk around
Right.
berth, significantly larger. Really good access to the mechanical systems, or electrical systems, I should say. You've got all these opening panels, so you can get to the 110. Your transfer switches, generator, remote start. If you had a water maker, your water maker control panel would go there as well too. But really good access to everything, and that's pretty common on the 15 as well too.
And a settee for Janice. She loves these little couches in the.
Yeah, a little settee with a little storage underneath there. Got a little nav desk, if you will, down here.
Or a vanity for the
Or
ladies.
vanity. And then nice large hanging lockers on here as well. The owner's stateroom on this compared to the 15, there is no comparison. The 15 owner's stateroom is just like palatial.
Yeah. I'm thinking for a 38.
This
is the small. It's one of the smallest boats we've ever reviewed.
Yeah,
And
no,
I'm thinking
I know.
this is quite livable.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I think so.
But if I can imagine if they can make this much space out of 38, then
how big is it at
yeah,
49
yeah,
feet?
Yeah,
you know?
it's gonna be monstrous.
So we got the head up forward.
Okay.
So sink on the outboard side. Nice headroom throughout there with the shower up forward, and plenty of storage in there, both below the sink as well as above the sink too.
That's great. That's great. No, actually, I'm really impressed.
No, they cram a lot of boat into a small package.
Yeah, and the fact that it has more performance, even though it feels really spacious for the size.
I mean,
it's got a better sailing capability than you kind of, because that's the one thing that, this is our opinion, not yours. The lagoons have always been very spacious inside, but I've always worried they might not sail very well.
Right. So like with the big three manufacturers,
Yeah.
being Lagoon, Fountaine Pajot, Leopard catamarans.
Yeah.
Lagoon, in my opinion, has always been the biggest, most spacious of the three. Leopard's kind of been that middle space-wise,
Right.
and then Fountaine Pajot and boat for boat and class, kind of the smallest,
Right.
and it goes sailing performance that way as well too,
Yeah.
a little bit. Although,
Yeah.
without
Lagoons are a little heavier and a little bigger.
Exactly.
So you're going to give up a little bit, unless they have a huge sail area. Then
Right.
Then you're going to get comparable sailing.
And the
speed.
idea with this is to kind of have that larger living space, but be able to sail, 15-20% better than you would in a
Right.
normal lagoon. So yeah, nav station's right behind you. Just in general, you can see the push button right there. Let me get it there. So you've got
Oh, yeah,
really
it's
good
all the
access
way.
to get to the back panel and everything like that.
And the iPad's there just as, is it a C-Zone system where you can like mirror it to the iPad, or why is the iPad?
So with the Ray Marine system, you can tune it, you can plug it into or link it into your Ray Marine electronics.
Okay, and it mirrors.
And it mirrors
Okay.
what you've got on your Ray Marine. So you can control the Ray Marine from there. It's also, there's iPad mounts that got them at both helms. So if you wanted to add, if you wanted to use your iPad at your helm as an additional display, you've got that as an option too.
That's great.
So
that's the way a lot of the boats aren't putting in a really sophisticated nav anymore, because everybody's using their iPad. As
it's with iPads becoming more and more daylight viewable and readable, and more and more durable. I mean, rain marine,
and you can take it with you.
and all.
So if you want to go to your bedroom for a bit, but you still want to keep an eye on the.
When I do deliveries, if I can link it in with my device, I will. And then when I'm off watch, I can roll over to my bed and look at my phone and be like, okay, cool. Like, we're still on course.
We have a drag, or the weather isn't.
Or if the AIS alarm goes off, it's going off on my phone next to my head, and then, I got to go yell at whoever's at the helm for almost killing everybody. Over on the starboard side, we've got the 2 guest cabins with a shared head. So it's only the one head for that side, so you end up with a nice large head versus 2 smaller heads with a separate shower stall. And then the forward cabin is a little on the small side, but it's a 38-foot boat. The aft cabin, I think, is a pretty good size, but at this size range, you kind of have to compromise somewhere. And I do think the starboard forward cabin could be a little bit bigger, but
it will be on the 15.
On the 15, it's a beautiful stateroom.
So I saw Janice take her camera down below, and I turned mine off thinking she was going to do that usual running commentary of what she likes and doesn't like about the boat. But then I saw the footage and she didn't say a thing. So I'll leave the footage running because she does do a good job of panning around, showing you the guest cabins and the head in more detail than what I did. I guess my thought here, and we're going to see both of our thoughts after we review the footage together. We're going to write our points of pros and cons on this boat. But I was actually quite surprised that this is a 38-foot boat. That is a tiny catamaran by the standards of the boats we've been reviewing. I'm actually surprised how spacious it felt. So I give it at least credit for that. Whether the quality of the build and the cabinetry is up to what we would want is a question. I've also had one commenter, when I said this is a boat we were reviewing, say this boat is really just a Lagoon with 2 steering stations. It's not even that much lighter. I'll look that up and I'll have that in our final review of this. So overall, quite impressed with the size for a 38. I'm really interested in seeing that 15-meter one that I guess is about 50 feet. That might be the perfect size. It's just whether the cabinetry and everything else feels quality or not. He says that 15-meter XS will be at the Miami Boat Show. Unfortunately, we don't plan to go to that boat show because we are going on a cruise. Yes, we are escaping winter by going on a regular cruise. We didn't get invited on any sailing expeditions this off-season, so a cruise will have to do. Anything to get away from these harsh Canadian winters. Something I just want to mention, so this is a 38. This is probably a little too small for what Janice and I want, but this is very spacious for a 38. So I could see if you are on a smaller budget, or what we talked about off camera, if you live in Florida or whatever, and you want your kind of floating cottage to go to the Bahamas or whatever, this is like a perfect size. So let's talk about price.
So this boat, the way that it's sitting here at the show, is just below $600,000. That's with generator, air, upgraded electronics, upgraded motors, folding props, the sunroof, electric heads. I don't know if I mentioned the code 0, dinghy outboard, pretty much everything you need to get out on the water and go sailing.
Reasonable. So, let's talk, because that would be more the one that's at the Miami show that I wish was here. The
Excess12.
15-meter.
Yeah, so that boat's going to be just under 49 feet right at that length, and that boat, well equipped, is going to be right at 1.1 million, and that's going to be for like a 3-cabin, 3-head layout, generator, air, water maker, inverter, the retractable sunroof, the taller rig, bowsprit code 0. I mean, pretty much everything you need to go sail away. Exactly.
Well, I love your channel.
No, man, I love it. I'm glad we were able to do this. I'm glad you got to sail across the Atlantic.
We've emailed each other before this, and I was surprised to see him here at the booth, and I was glad that he was willing to do this guided tour for us.
No, I appreciate you guys coming by. So thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, man. Okay. We just saw the footage. We've got our notes. She has hers. I have mine.
I have more.
She always has more. I'll let you start, of course, like usual.
So I did really like this boat for the size, and it was pretty, and the back deck was actually surprisingly large for a 39-foot. There was enough seating for quite a few people, and it was aesthetically pretty. What walking around. There's nice grab rails all around. It's easy to walk around, though there is no princess seat. But the anchor was in my preferred location. I don't
way
want
out on the bow.
Yeah. Anchor
Easier to work on
bow.
there.
Yeah, I don't like the. I know that it was the Nautilus. I don't know. I think it was the Nautilus we were on where the anchor was back.
Yeah.
And I remember just bashing the gel coat when we were trying to get it up, and I didn't like that. It's just,
And the chain can rub, like you were saying, the chain can rub the hull.
Yeah. So that. So there's lots of room on the top deck. We got this boat, get the hard
roof.
Bimini, whatever, the hard cover. And there'd be lots of room for solar up there. And the ropes were hidden. The ropes. Yeah. So they are not obstructing the solar area.
Yeah.
And they're also sun protected. And some boats that I don't know.
I'm glad that was an option, that reclining thing. Neither one of us wanted that.
So
and he says that's an option. So
like one of my big paranoia on the boat we have now is when the companionway is open and we're up top at all, that someone just will forget it's not open, that it's not closed and stand on it. So
fall through.
I'm always rushing to close that door. That would stress me out to have that giant opening. I know I'd fallen. Okay.
And like we said, she's Casper White, so we do the best we can to stay out of the direct sun in the summertime. So
I'm not a sunbather. I love sunny weather and I love sunny locations.
So we would never leave it open.
Yeah. The trampoline was like not the nice, easy on the feet kind.
Not the soft kind.
No. And one other kind of thumb stand was the single sink.
Yeah.
But other than that, like it was inside, it was beautiful.
And it didn't mention anywhere where a washing machine would be.
No, I would assume there isn't one.
Small enough boat like this, it probably doesn't have anywhere set aside for a washing machine.
But the heads were really nicely done.
Yeah.
And large on the guest side.
It was very spacious for a 39 or 38 and a half foot boat. I was like, wow.
The owner's suite had a little settee and a desk and a big accessible bed. So I would be comfortable.
While we were looking at this footage, we said if the Canadian dollar ever took a crapper and we could afford less because of the exchange and we had to bring our budget down, this could be a boat.
Oh, yeah.
We could live on this. This is not like hardship sailing, but it's just that, usually for a little bit more money you can get a much bigger boat, especially in the used market. So anyways, I'll go into mine. If you think of anything else, you can add it at the end. Okay, the thing that we both talked about, the dual helms is not really a selling feature for us because we plan to take this boat around the world like more of an ocean cruiser. We're going to be anchoring as much as possible. We're almost never going to go to a marina unless we absolutely have to. And this boat screams those two dual helms right at almost water level is meant for docking at a dock. Like if you want to pull up and like he said, if your wife's the only one and you're steering from up top, then she's running around like a crazy person trying to tie the boat up at the dock. If you're down low, at least you could like grab a line and anyways, you can be more involved. And so we don't plan to do that. And I think out there you would feel exposed. I know there's little plastic sheets that can go down to protect you from the rain and all that, but hopefully you wouldn't be standing out there long enough to even want to roll down those plastic sheets. And over time, those plastic will fade and crack and get all cloudy, and it's just extra maintenance that we don't want. So we wouldn't want that. Plus, there was no hard bimini over those spots. It's canvas, and everything we try to avoid is canvas. Try and have a hard bimini because sun and salt will just eat that stuff really quickly and make it look dirty, if not make it crack and fade and all that stuff. So no dual helms for us. Now, I can see somebody who's using this boat as like their weekend getaway boat and they keep it at a dock all the time, that seating position for a helm would be actually very good. So I already mentioned that very good size for a 38 or 39 foot boat. Cabinetry, of course, most of the mass production boats, the cabinetry feels very IKEA. This one in particular, the white doors on everything felt extra cheap, the white melamine. Now I could think that might be the owner, whoever bought that boat, or maybe the company thought that was clean looking to have white doors, but we like a more wood look.
Natural. Yeah,
more natural look, and all those white melamine doors just didn't scream quality. One thing I did like though about the quality is no squeaky floors. Mm-hmm. If you watched last year's episodes where we did a bunch of lagoons, the one thing we noticed in every single one was everywhere you walked, it was the floors were always squeaking. And that was one thing even viewers noticed that about the squeaky floors. This one, I didn't notice any squeaks. So I don't know if it's Excess. I know it's a brand of Beneteau and so is Lagoon. So theoretically they should have the same quality, but for some reason they didn't have any squeaky floors, and that showed a little bit more, quality, I guess. Now, my biggest one was price. For 49 foot, we're looking at the 15 meter, which would be 49 feet. Well equipped, $1.1 million for a Lagoon-ish or similar quality of cabinetry and all that. For that much money, we could get a boutique boat. We could get the Neisner. We could get the.
I do really like the Neisner.
We could even almost get an Exquisite for not much more money.
1.4 now?
It's 1.3. Okay. But still, I mean, the Exquisite quality versus this is like, and I don't know if at 1.1 you're getting everything the Exquisite has in it, right? So, I mean, even this boat didn't have a water maker installed, and he was quoting it as 600,000. So he's saying an equivalent 15 would be 1.1. Well, if it's 1.1 and you still have to add a water maker, and there's maybe other things you need to add, it might be 1.2. In which case we're talking. We like the Neisner, which is cheaper. We like the Maverick, but it's smaller. We like the Antares, but it's smaller. We like the St. Francis, which is 1.2. And, you know, just some of these boutique boats feel a lot more solid, a lot more quality interiors, quality workmanship. So for 1.1, it seemed a bit high to me. What do you think?
Yeah.
She's afraid to say it.
No, yeah. Like, I mean, obviously, I would prefer an Eisner if I could had 1.1 to spend.
Well, the Neisner's not even 1.1.
Well, exactly.
It's 900,000, so and it's a 50-foot.
Yeah.
Now, it's a smaller 50-foot. Like Lagoons, and this is similar to a Lagoon, are huge inside. So a 50-foot Lagoon would be absolutely gargantuan compared to a 50-foot Neisner. Or even a St. Francis 50. It's probably a lot smaller inside than a Lagoon 50. So it feels, waterline isn't always, they equate to interior volume. So those are my things. Did you have anything? I know you glanced one more time.
Well, just little things.
Little things, nothing. Okay.
No, nothing.
We're good?
Yes.
All right. So, didn't dislike this boat?
No, I could happily be on that boat.
Right.
Except for the only one sinking, no princess seats, but that's all. Oh, and the
Deal
washing
killer.
dryer.
So,
Must have.
yeah. I mean, this boat, especially used, if we were getting one used or somebody out there is getting one used, you might be able to pick one up for like 350, 400,000, and that's pretty reasonable for a catamaran. So hopefully you found this episode informative. If so, show the channel some love by giving it a thumbs up and
Subscribe.
So that's it. So in the next episode, I think we're going to do either the Antares or the Privilege. Those are our last two, I believe. And yeah, if you're looking forward to those, they should come out in the next week. So until next time, this is Craig and Janice signing off, wishing you safe cruising. Ciao for now.
Weigh anchor and hoist the sail.
A special shout out to our patrons that show the channel some love with more than just thumbs up. We love you guys. If you want to know more about that, go to patreon.com/cruisingoffduty. And if you want to follow us in any of our social media, the easiest way is probably just to go to cruisingoffduty.com and all the links are there.
If you're one of those lucky people that has a sailboat in some beautiful tropical area, being able to sail 12 months of the year, just know that we are super jealous. Can't wait for the day where we can do the same thing because we are living with winter here in Canada and it's tough. So we have a Caribbean cruise booked for this January just to get away from it because we hate winter. Anyways, enjoy your sailing and ciao for now.
Privilege?
Yes, okay, let's do that again. Okay, so are you finished
Enjoy it,
playing
please.
with your nose? No. So hopefully you found this episode entertaining or informative. If show.